You never want a serious crisis to go to waste. And what I mean by that, it's an opportunity to do things that you think you could not do before.
Regulators, it's going to accelerate their intervention. You know, and there's a regressive regulation, which is to say you can't really do anything, and that'll contract the industry. Bitcoin will be the winner because Bitcoin is a digital commodity and it's the least controversial of everything. But there's a progressive regulation which says this is a path to register a digital security, a digital currency, a digital token, and your digital exchange. If there is a progressive regulation, then I think you won't see 20,000 tokens, you'll see a handful, dozens, but they'll be properly registered tokens. The industry is going to grow much more rapidly. And ultimately, we're moving from the entrepreneurial stage where this was a Wild West offshore where anything goes to an institutional digital asset stage where the big players like Bank of America and Fidelity and BlackRock and the Goldman Sachs's and JP Morgan's are going to enter this space, and we're all just going to grow up, and the world is going to benefit from it.
If you will. Sam Bankman-Fried, it appears from your calendar, on March 29th, 2022 at 4 p.m. came in and actually met with you, along with Brad Katsuyama of IEX, someone who has draped himself in the flag, if you will, of an honorable exchange. Do you feel like you were hoodwinked?
I think we've been clear in these meetings, and you can look at my calendar's public, many meetings with folks in this industry. Very clear in these meetings, same message to the public, same message to them, that non-compliance is not going to work. The public's going to be hurt, but also we're going to continue on these dual paths. And if we need to, going to be the cop on the beat, going into court, putting the facts and the law in front of judges.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And you know I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And we have Michael Saylor saying that this FTX event is going to accelerate the regulators' intervention. And we know that's the reason why we had the Luna collapse and also with FTX. And then also FTX may have been responsible for the Luna collapse. But like Michael Saylor stated, it's going to be an institutional land. He stated that BlackRock, Fidelity, Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan is going to enter into the space. But guys, we know they've been funding it from the beginning. And also Google and Microsoft. The central banks use the big players in order to take over. Remember in my book, I told you that these corporations are going to be your new government. This is how the central banks are going to be controlling all of this data. Now, we had the bank man meet with Gary Gensler, and we know he was in front of Congress constantly, also donating millions and millions of dollars. And we saw investors like BlackRock, SoftBank, and many others. Believe me, guys, these big corporations are going to keep up with their money, but then also we know very few people are going to play with their money because we know the outcome. Now we have Mike Novogratz said he charmed 20 of the best investors. And guys, I hope you don't believe that. We know that the bank man was a puppet. We know Novogratz is a puppet. We know Gary Gensler is a puppet. And guys, we know this is all to move us over to this fourth industrial revolution. And what did Novogratz say? We got out half of our assets before the gate closed. And for the last 4 days, guys, we've been all over CNBC. And we have Jim Cramer says it's a good time to get out of crypto. And while we see these institutions building, and they're going to get these cryptos at bottom-based prices, while the masses either don't know about the industry or too scared to invest, we know the fourth industrial revolution will be here. Now, when it comes to cryptos and stocks, will they continue to pump and dump? Yes, they will, because we still have all these dollars out here, and we know how strong the dollar is. But the Fed is going to continue to raise rates and shrink this balance sheet. So right now, this is a trader's dream. If you're an investor, I'm not your financial advisor, not financial advice. Please do your own research. You will get a better entry point. But guys, make sure you're studying and doing your own research, because the fact is the fourth industrial revolution is being built right in front of your eyes. Whether robots, algorithms, and drones take over the economy, pay each other with crypto, and the sheep are going to go inside the metaverse. And guys, we know what's going to take us there. And we hear those drums are beating, because we know when it comes to the New World Order, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
Look, you have been talking about the need for regulating, and yet have not. There's been lots of focus. We had you on last time when you went after Kim Kardashian. But on a relative basis, going after Kim Kardashian compared to what is now a massive undoing of FTX isn't enough. What do you say about that?
Look, I think that investors need better protection in this space. But I would say this is a field that's significantly non-compliant, but it's got regulation, and those regulations are often very clear. And we have multiple paths. And one path is working with those crypto exchanges, crypto lending platforms, and to get them properly registered. And why that matters is that so the public's protected. But we have another path, which is enforcement. We've brought, between my predecessor and the teams now at the SEC, at least 100 actions in this case. And we've been very clear in these various enforcement actions. And we had a big win even this week on a crypto token called Library, where a court clearly said, you've been on fair notice. And yes, this is a securities under the securities law.
But Gary, in fairness, there are millions, if not billions, of dollars that are going to get tied up that potentially will get lost in this situation by investors, not just retail investors, but pensions that have given money to venture capitalists that have invested in these things. Shouldn't this be more regulated?
Yes, Andrew, and the laws are clear. And look, the runway is running out. I mean, the American public and investors around the globe are getting hurt by a field that says they put a lot of fancy talk around it, Andrew, and the technology is interesting. And I taught it at MIT, and I think that there is some innovations here, but we still need investor protection. And so what I would say is, come in and talk to us. You've heard that before. The runway is getting shorter, and the laws are clear, and it's pretty rich for me when I think about it. Look, there's also celebrities. You talked about celebrities. There's celebrity CEOs in this space as well, celebrity crypto entrepreneurs. And so the public can fall prey to their promotions, their marketing, and the like. And it's really important. Our third path is also investor education. Going on a show like this is also to say to the public, beware, this is highly speculative. It is regulated, but without prejudging any one circumstance, largely non-compliant.
Trust in other counterparties. And so it's, I'm furious, actually. Macro guys try not to get angry. It's kind of try to stay rational. But this is just so frustrating in that you've got thousands and thousands of people working their tail off to build these new ecosystems. And, this is a tale as old as time to some degree. Some young, charismatic guy in Bermuda shorts with the floppy hair charmed the 20 best investors in the world, as equity investors in his fund, charmed regulators, and was kind of the front man of the whole system.
Did he charm you, Mike?
I've met him plenty of times, and he is charming, and he's thoughtful. And listen, we're in the business of providing liquidity to over 850, institutional customers. And so we have money on all these exchanges. We have a really thorough process of vetting the exchanges, having meetings every week on how much risk we should have. We got half our risk off before the gates went up. And so it's unbelievably frustrating that, we basically have a situation that looks like Theranos. Unfortunately go under because their money got stuck, right? Any big liquidity provider, so any big arbitrageur, the quantitative trading business had to have lots of money on FTX, and so that's going to be where a lot of pain is. You know, I mean, listen, I read, I don't know if it's true that the El Salvadorian government's you know, crypto was on FTX, and they were calling for extradition of Sam. Like, you know, the fallout will be far, but it's not going to stop the underlying community from holding together. Certainly in Bitcoin, in Ethereum, there are too many people vested in the success of these communities. Remember, those communities are decentralized. If Mike Novogratz gets run over by a car, God forbid, or Michael Saylor gets, you know, proven to be, you know, something he's not, or whoever, Bitcoin doesn't matter, right? These centralized tokens, like Sam was FTT, it's a very different ecosystem.
Well, Bitcoin, I think it's been revealed as, well, let's just say that Bitcoin could fall to 12,000 without a problem. And, you know, the apologists for Bitcoin, it's really getting very thin. And Gensler basically came on and just said, look, you're on your own. And I don't want to be on my own. Now, I candidly did make a lot of money in Bitcoin. It was fool's gold. I just did it to play momentum. But I think your interview was very dispositive to getting out of all these things. And this may be a really terrific opportunity.
But so you don't view that's, you know, when you saw some of these, whatever you want to call them in the past, we used all the words, we covered them all. It's Madoffian or Ponzian. I thought we replaced Ponzi with Madoffian.
I don't think I just think it's no.
They all had they were investing in securities, but they were doing a Ponzi scheme. You don't think the underlying security it's not FTX? You think it's the underlying security where there's an actual issue?
I mean, look, I think that they could go higher. They were probably oversold, but I think that Gary's point to me was very simple, which is that, you know, you can be in an unregulated market or a regulated market. And I prefer to be in a regulated market. And I think that there's 230 coins that have been issued. And they, to me, a lot of those just seem like alchemy. This can go up. Look, there's so many people who have so much money invested. They have to try to keep them up. But what an opportunity to get out over the next few days, not all, of these things. After that interview, look, the interview was a lot of people were concerned. I felt it was groundbreaking. Some of my friends felt it wasn't groundbreaking. But I think the ultimate takeaway from your interview with Gensler was, you got to be crazy to be in this stuff. And I was getting 8.5%. I remember asking Gensler when I was in one of these organizations that was involved with FTX. I said I was getting 8.5 every night. And he goes, well, don't you think that's too good to be true? I mean, you know, I worked at Goldman. And the answer, yeah, it was. But I thought the Gensler interview was extraordinary. And it was a great job by you guys. Because it really said was, are you nuts?
We're going to a different economy. And we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
This effort. And China has big plans for this. They intend to seed their digital yuan into the global environment by giving it away to visitors at next winter's Olympics. When they arrive at the airport, they're going to get yuan digital wallets. They're going to receive digital yuan. They're going to use it throughout their visits to Beijing, and then they're going to take it back to their home countries. They see this as a huge advantage. Why? Because who controls the underlying protocols, who controls the underlying standards of the future of money will control the future of money.
Most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come, Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids' books. You know, I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID-33. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.